Welcome back to the Bullet Grill House High School Sports Pregame Show. Kraig, Erwin, Brian Becsh, Chris Moran on the far end down there. We're here at Bullet Grill House, 401 Highway 156, Point Blank, Texas. And if you haven't been here, you are absolutely missing out. We've talked about this place for the last 12 weeks, and we've been coming here for 2 years doing these shows.
If you can hear the sound of our voice, then you're close enough to drive out here and make a day of it, because once you do get out here, you will make a day of it.
Well, you say that. We got folks that tune in Austin and all over the place. I mean, yeah, they can make
That's
the
close
trip.
enough.
That's close enough.
Make a day of it.
Shoot, road
You
trip.
can still come up from there. Make a road trip. We've had people come up from the Woodlands, from
And if
Humble,
you
from
are-
Atascocita.
If you are coming from Austin, get here early, catch the car show, catch lunch, and then stay around here for all the games that happen during the day and catch dinner too.
It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
You get classic cars, great food, college football,
And I tell you what,
and a band.
I don't want to mess up what we've got for the college pregame show, but that 6 o'clock hour in college pregame show, you're going to need this many TVs is what he's got in
That's
here.
crazy. I can't wait
You're
to start
gonna
talking about that
need
tomorrow.
This many TVs in order to see all of them, so you better get down here.
One other game that was in the pick'ems there on 590 Sports is Dayton on the road at Fort Bend Marshall. Big game for Dayton. They locked in the 2 seed. First time we've talked about Dayton going into the playoffs in a while. But they lose to Fort Bend Marshall. 52-21 was the final there. And Chris is updating his spreadsheet over there.
5-0.
My boy. He finished out with a bang. And we are going to have a pick'ems this week. I just haven't posted them on 590 Sports. And we're recording this on Wednesday. Between work and our podcast, everything else I've had going, I've been pretty busy. And I normally get to spend at least the first 2 days of the week, half a day at least, doing high school football stuff. I haven't been able to do that.
That's the excuses that he's using to spring the surprises on you for later.
I know.
Dude, I don't even know who we're going with yet. We're going to pull it up here in a little bit, but we got a lot of games. So I went and did the Anahuac-Tarkington game Thursday night. And I'm tell you what, Anahuac has a little freshman quarterback that is legit, has a sophomore tight end that's legit. Brian, you and I went over a couple of them names. Anahuac's going to be fun to watch. But I'm going to say this. Tarkington is graduating 5 off of their varsity football team.
And that's incredible, because we've talked about it a couple of different times, a few different weeks, to where they've actually won, I think it's 4 games this year, a brand new coaching staff that also got in here late this year, and to have just 5 seniors on that team, you imagine if they've been able to build a program this fast to where, it's a big deal to win 4 games over there at Tarkington. It sounds bad, but to get in that late and to build something to where you can win 4 games this late, imagine what they can do with a full off season, and then you got the preseason next year to kind of set yourself up for a bigger year with everybody experienced.
Well, I think next year they're going to be much better. I think best case scenario, they're a 6-4 overall team. I actually sat down and looked at the schedule that they'll have next year, and I think that a couple of the games in pre-district that they lost, that they'll be able to win, which was
I don't like your pick. They're a playoff team next year.
They're in a tough district, dude.
I know.
They're in a very tough district. Kirbyville, Buna, Anahuac, Orangefield,
East Chambers.
Yeah. That's a tough district.
Give it to me.
I'm going to give it. You heard it right here on the Bullet Grill House High School Sports Pregame Show in 2022. Before we ever have the first kickoff,
Tarkington Longhorns.
Brian Becsh is saying Tarkington's making the playoffs. Let's talk
At least
about.
he's going to root for some Longhorns.
Yeah, hook them, baby.
I won't go that far, but I'm saying these maroon Longhorns over here.
You're only doing that because they're maroon and gold. That's it.
These maroon Longhorns over here are a playoff team next year.
So, look, that was Thursday night. Friday night, you and I went and did the Livingston Lion game.
We did.
And kind of odd, 6 o'clock kickoff for the Livingston Lions, and a football game that we thought against a number 6 ranked Lumberton Raider football team.
And they looked every bit of that number 6.
Every bit of it. But when that game got started, we were like, here we go. This is fixing to be a ball game. Livingston is fixing to unveil what they've been hiding and slowly letting out throughout the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And after the first possession each side of the ball, that changed.
Man, it got rough. Livingston forces them into a punt after 1 first down on that first drive. The second drive, Lumberton's got to struggle. They make a couple of third down conversions. Even I think it was a fourth down that they converted on the Livingston half the field on that second drive. They start going no huddle. They catch Livingston by surprise. They work their way into the end zone. You're thinking, okay, still a game. It's 7-0. Well, the next 6 drives after that 7-0, they also scored touchdowns. So, yeah. Number 6 in the state, I believe it. And that team is severely underrated because not as far as the number that they are. Number 6 in the state is a very, very good ranking for where they are right now. But people don't associate Lumberton football with this much success. And I think they're about to have a good amount of success in the playoffs. And I don't know that everybody's ready to get what they've got because they've got a very good spread offense. They've got 2 running backs. We didn't even see there's a running back that is second in the district right now that we saw him take the ball 5 times in that game. They have a freshman running back that they put in that went for 150 yards. They've got a quarterback that's a junior that throws for 300 yards.
Yep.
And everybody on that team, Coach Vanover was telling me earlier this week, they return 88% of their roster next year.
And it's absolutely crazy. They're past that rebuild. They're at that reload.
It's wild how fast it went because they were last place. They come in the next year, they're a playoff team. They come in this year, they're number 6 in the state.
Yeah.
2 years.
Just what that coach has done over there. In over on the 599 Sports page, myself and another fella from down there in Lumberton, we've had some conversation back and forth, and he said he's never seen a program turn around like the Lumberton Raiders have through his years of following high school football.
Comes over from Center High School, and where he had success over there. And Coach Vanover was telling me he coached against his father. That's how old
Coach Vanover is.
That's how old Coach Vanover. He's gonna love hearing that. He'll agree with you, but no, he. I mean, obviously there's a coaching lineage there, and there's a history, there's a tradition, there's so much knowledge that is going to be pumped into that Lumberton program. It's where everybody in the district wants to be right now because not only are you on top of the district, not only are you beating the second-place team by 5 touchdowns, you have everybody coming back for next year, and next year's not going to be a problem. You know where you're going to be, and it's going to be making a state playoff run, and it's we're talking about the type of state playoff run where you get to Arlington. It may happen this year. They may have the guns for it this year. If not, next year is going to be a beast.
Man, while we're sitting here talking about it, I'll just bring my bracket up over for 4A Division 1.
All this homework that he didn't do.
No, I did. Remember, it was just 5A that I missed.
Okay.
It was 5A and 3A Division 2 that I missed. But if you look at that 4A Division 1 bracket, if I can figure out where it's at, there it is. I have Lumberton losing to Chapel Hill in the regional semifinals.
Yeah.
And that's the downfall to how stacked, and it's a good
Spoiler
segue.
alert, he's got Livingston losing in the first round.
I mean, I don't – it would be absolutely – it's going to be fun calling that game tonight just to see Chapel Hill. Not that I don't have faith in Livingston whatsoever, but Livingston's had their struggles. Yeah. Chapel Hill is just a week in and week out solid football team, and we talked about it over there on our other podcast with what they've done over the last couple years. And I encourage you to go listen to that podcast because it's really good content. That podcast is a lot of content that we can't put into 45 minutes of pregame show for high school football.
Got a coach over there at Tyler Chapel Hill that resurrected that Crosby program and made it a winner whenever it was just almost dormant for so many years and years and years. He's come into Tyler Chapel Hill. Obviously, Livingston played a couple of years ago. Livingston's got the game under control. All of a sudden, fourth quarter hits. Tyler Chapel Hill goes on a couple of just amazing drives. They had an outstanding quarterback that was highly recruited coming out of high school that just kind of put it all together. He could run, he could throw, he could do absolutely everything. Huge kid, hard to bring down, very fast, very good arm. And then last year, you've got a non-district game to where first half it's a very good game. Tyler Chapel Hill pulls away in the second half. They bring up a freshman after that game that leads them to the semifinals of the playoffs. A freshman. He's a sophomore this year. Needless to say, very, very talented, and he's going to be something to watch.
I'm excited to watch this, and I know you followed that side of the bracket. They're out of this region pretty heavy. We got some big games coming out of there, out of Region 3, games that are going on. Tyler Chapel Hill, Livingston game right here on 102.3 The Eagle. Bay City, Houston Yates, Lumberton, Palestine. I feel like that could be a really good football game. You've seen both of these teams.
I have.
And, I think that it's going to be I think that's going to be a good football game.
Palestine can give them trouble. They're going to have a hard time, obviously, defending what Lumberton's got on offense because it's one of those things to where if something isn't working for the Lumberton offense, they can just shift gears and go the other way. Palestine may be able to hold them down for a few drives, but I don't see how they come out of this game with a win. However, I think they're going to give them a decent game.
And I agree with you. I think it's going to be a really good football game. I'm excited to scoreboard watch on that one. And dropping over, let's drop down a little bit more out of Livingston's district. Vidor is going to be facing Lindale. I think this is a game Vidor is going to be able to win hands down. Got them picked to win.
I wouldn't sleep on Lindale.
You're not going to sleep on it, but I think Vidor, they've peaked at the right time to move forward and to make a run in the playoffs.
Might be one of the better first-round games that we see.
Yeah, Kilgore and Little Cypress, Mauriceville.
Another good one.
I think that's going to be the best game played this week in 4A Division I.
Here's the deal, and again, I'm gonna go back to Monday when I was talking to Coach Vanover. He said, everybody is talking about how Little Cypress lost that game in such a big margin to Lumberton a couple of weeks ago. He said, don't be surprised if you see Little Cypress and Mauriceville in Week 3 of the playoffs because they're that type of team. They did it last year. They made an incredible run last year. He said, don't be surprised if you see them again. Obviously, in order to do that, they've got to get over a very, very large hurdle in Kilgore, who was expected to be the district champion until last week whenever Tyler Chapel Hill was able to defeat them.
While we're sitting here rolling through on this pregame show, let's jump down to 2A Division I. And the reason why we're going to cover these two sides of the brackets mainly in Region 3 is Thursday night we're doing the Livingston Lion game at Palestine Westwood up there in Lufkin at Abe Martin Stadium. Friday up in Henderson.
Yeah.
And Garrison and Corrigan Camden. And that's kind of what leads us into where we're at whenever you look at this Region 3 side of the 2A Division I bracket.
Biggest thing I know about Garrison is what they did the week before. They come within 6 points of Timpson. And Timpson, if you don't know about Timpson,
they're huge.
You will soon.
Yes.
Because they're going to make a ton of noise in the playoffs if they're not in Arlington whenever this thing's at the end. Garrison comes within 6 points. It's a 44-38 score, if I remember right. And they are peaking at the right time. And I hate it for Corrigan Camden because, you had such a big game last week and you're coming off something like that. You've got to transition into something this week to where there's no letdown. Garrison's going to give you a ball game.
Yep. 3 minutes left is what Ken's telling us. He's flashing no tray up there on us. So, spoiler alert on this bracket, how I have it figured up. On the bottom side out of Region 3, whenever you get to the regional semifinals, I got Timpson and Centerville lined up against each other.
Yep.
On the top side, I got Corrigan and Beckville. So I think Corrigan's going 3 rounds deep pretty easy. I think it's going to be a dogfight against Beckville. I actually got Beckville picked to win that one. But
I hope you said dogfight on purpose.
Yes, Bulldog fight. Duh. I wouldn't do anything else. So a lot of good games coming up this week in the bi-district round of the playoffs. We can't cover them all in a 45-minute to an hour-long segment. you can go to the LSG network, Lone Star Gridiron, and you can listen to our podcast that we put out Monday, covering pretty much everything. We talked about a lot of stuff.
But only if you promise to like and subscribe us, because even if you don't like us, like we've said in the past,
Yes.
even if you don't like us, like us.
Yeah, like us and subscribe. That way you can give us a hard time. But one thing you're not going to dislike is the Bullet Grill House,
That's for
which
sure.
is where we're at every Wednesday night recording this high school sports pregame show. Chris, his staff, bingo night on Wednesday nights. What y'all got Thursdays? Pizza
Thursday?
night?
No, we do karaoke Thursday night. We do
Karaoke?
pizza. We do pizza and karaoke. We talked about the big menu before. You really need to follow us. Talk about likes and follow. Follow us on Instagram and on Facebook, but at Bullet Grill House, because we do pizza on Thursday night. It's the only night we do it. We have a great pizza people rave about. So we start at 4 o'clock till we sold out. We only make so many crusts a night. Monday night we do a chef special. It's a wild card chef special. This week we had hand-cut ribeyes. Usually we do steaks once a
We
week.
didn't get that notification. That
Definitely
falls
didn't.
back to that subscribe and get them notifications.
And I also need a notification for whenever you guys have ribs. I still haven't tried them. I've heard about how fantastic they are. You need to send out some sort of blast that says, hey, ribs
Look,
are here.
we're going to be here next week. Chris, we're challenging you to have ribs.
We'll try to have ribs next week. That'll be the goal. there are. I agree. There are no ribs today, so hopefully we'll have them next week. Tuesday we do a Tex-Mex plate too. We do a Taco Tuesday. We got $2 tacos on. $2 beef chicken tacos, $3 seafood tacos on Tuesday night. But we also do a Tex-Mex plate. So this week we did a fajita plate for $10. It's a heck of a deal on Tuesday night for a Tex-Mex plate. So those are great options outside the normal menu. So again, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and we post kind of what that special is either the day before or earlier in the day, so you can make your dinner plans.
If you're not putting Bullet Grill House on your weekly menu to stop and eat, if you eat out a lot, you're missing out. You're listening to the Bullet Grill House High School Sports Pregame Show on 102.3 The Eagle. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with the pick'ems right after this.